Some of the questions I get most often are, how do I know when the Milky Way is going to be visible? And how do I know where it is in the sky? The answer to these questions is easy and a bit complicated at the same time. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, it's usually visible somewhere in the southeast to the southwest. Really kind of depends on the time of the year, time of night. It can be a bit confusing and overwhelming, especially when you're in a dark spot staring up at millions of stars. I'm Christopher Neal, and I've been photographing the Milky Way for almost a decade now. I've learned how to figure out not only what's the best time of year to see it, but where exactly it is when I gaze up at the night sky. In this short video, I'm going to share some hard-earned knowledge as well as a couple of apps that will make it really easy to locate. The name Milky Way comes from its appearance as a dimly glowing band arcing across the night sky. It's light coming from the accumulation of unresolvable stars and other material. Various cultures have different interpretations and names for this band of light, often referring to it in terms of a celestial river or path. As you observe it, you're seeing light that has traveled thousands of years to reach your eyes. It's a pretty humbling reminder of how ancient this ever-expanding universe is. This isn't just any cluster of stars. This is our home galaxy, a swirling collection of stars and dust and gas that forms the celestial living space for our solar system. Generally speaking, the core of the Milky Way is visible from mid-January until early November. That's in the Northern Hemisphere. The Southern Hemisphere is a little bit different season, but since I live on the east coast of the U.S. and not in Australia, I can't really speak to that. During the first part of the season, it rises very early, just before sunrise, and each day it comes up about 3 to 4 minutes earlier until sometime in April when it finally crosses over and rises about midnight. And then again by late May, it coincides with astronomical twilight, so it's basically visible as soon as it gets dark enough for you to see it. By early November, it sinks below the horizon and it's gone until the next year. Those first few months it's seen as an arc just above the horizon, arching higher and higher each night until it becomes vertical. Personally, I prefer photographing during January, February, and March. It's cold, the skies are clear, there are very few other people around to interfere with you, and the Milky Way is spread out in that gentle arc across the horizon. Now, you know when to look for the Milky Way. Let's talk about where to look in the sky. For the first few months, the Milky Way will begin to appear in the southeast. It's about 120 to 125 degrees on a compass. It's right in the middle between east and south. The longer it's visible, the more it drifts to the south. A few degrees at first, and then by August, it's basically going to be due south. Finally, as it slowly fades and sinks below the horizon, it ends up somewhere in the southwest. All this is general rule of thumb information, and only helpful in giving you rough estimates on where and when the Milky Way will be visible. Fortunately, technology makes it really easy to determine exact times and directions. Apps like PhotoPills, Planet Pro, and the Photographer's Ephemeris can tell you where, when, and how long you will be able to view and photograph the Milky Way from just about any spot on the planet. These apps are not free, but in most cases a small one-time fee can really make the difference when you're planning that trip and you need to know exactly where and when the Milky Way is going to be visible. I have all three, but the one I lean on most is PhotoPills. I'm not going to get into them here, and I'm not paid to endorse any of these apps. I do have a quick tips video on PhotoPills, and I'll link that above. Night sky apps like Star Walk and Sky Guide, they're free to download, and they can be really helpful in locating the Milky Way, but as far as planning, you're going to want to stick with one of the other three that I referenced. So, you know when and where to look. The sky's filled with stars. How in the heck do you understand what you're looking at? Just the other night as I stood on the beach at Ocracoke Island, staring out at a very hazy sky, unable to see the Milky Way as I normally should be able to at that point. Another photographer walked up and admitted that she wasn't really sure exactly where the Milky Way was. I pointed out at the red supergiant Antares in the constellation Scorpius, and I showed her how it, along with A-Crab and Pi Scorpii, form a triangle that kind of points down towards the Great Dark Horse Nebula, which sits between us and the core, and has become an iconic feature of Milky Way photography. Antares is very bright, and it's almost the same color as Mars, so it's pretty easy to spot, you know, the general direction to look in. As the Milky Way rises and separates from the horizon, it becomes much easier to see. But using these simple rules and a little help from the apps, you'll always know exactly where to find it. I hope you found this video helpful, furthering your understanding of when and where to locate the Milky Way. Leave a comment below if you have any questions, suggestions for future topics, or if you'd just like to share your own experiences with spotting the Milky Way. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. It helps me to reach more viewers like you. Until next time, remember to get out there and capture some magic.